Hi, it's Dee with a Single Mom Unguided Life, and I just wanted to hop on camera so you can see a face and a body to this channel. I wanted to give you a high-level overview of what you should expect from me, as well as my background and the content that you will be seeing on this channel. We would discuss finances, motherhood, and being single, and all that's in between. To give you a background for myself, I did not grow up with a good financial foundation. Most of the things that I learned about money came from observation. No one formally taught me anything, therefore no one redirected these bad habits that I was observing. And that, in essence, led into a lot of financial decisions that I made as an adult that became detrimental to my financial health and, in the end, my mental health. In 2017, I felt like a fish out of water. I was up to here with bills and collections. I was scraping by, making sure we get groceries and gas, and I literally was living paycheck to Monday and praying that I can get to the next 2 weeks so I can get another paycheck and go through the same cycle. I made a decision that was not lighthearted, but it was one that helped me release some of the emotional stress that came with money, and I went ahead and filed for bankruptcy. I thought that filing for bankruptcy, that I would get a piece of that greener side that everybody was talking about, and all my problems would just mysteriously go away, right? But that was not true for me. What I discovered is it just added another strike to a already complicated makeup of who I was. So just to give you just insight of that is that I was born with my first strike. As you can see, I have my melanin. So there were already preconceived notions about what I can do based on the color of my skin. That is a tough thing to be able to process and get through, because you run into a lot of walls because of what someone has been taught about, not you, because they don't know your name yet, but about the people who carry the color of your skin. I had to grow into being okay with what someone else thought about me, because that did not make me or will make me who I am. I'm a firm believer in faith, and I trust in the Lord. So he knows me, and he knows how he made me. So I had to transition my mindset to be okay with what you thought about me and say, well, that's your problem. You got to deal with it. But this is who I am, and this is what I'm bringing. The next thing, or next strike, that I had to handle or come to grips with was something else that I was born with, or born in, how you say it, I don't know, was my gender. I'm a woman. So I did not know that there was a huge difference in women and man until I entered the workforce. And you said, wait a minute, girl, science said we're different, which is true. But I grew up around strong women, and I had a lot of strong women influence in my life and I gravitated towards that I never ideally seen them, a man and a woman, not being equal into the workforce. When I start to say, wait a minute, how you getting paid more than she is, and she doing the same job and even more than you? Why did you get promoted and she actually been doing all the work? So I had to come to grips with there would be these gaps in the workforce that I had to work through, because at first this person didn't see my resume. They seen, one, I was black, and two, I was a woman. So I had to work through not allowing my gender to determine my capabilities. That is still a struggle. And that is still sad because it's 2020. But that is still a struggle that we still have to tell people that we're capable of leading. We're capable of leading. We've been doing it for a while. Okay? Let us be. Give us a situation. So the next strike I had to work through is being a single mother. I became a single mother out of making the determination that my son would not grow up in a broken home like I did. I decided that I believe that his mental well-being was so much work, like it was so much for me. It was better to, and I don't know why I got lost of words, but it was more important than mine. So I made the decision to divorce my ex-husband, which was his father, in order to ensure my son did not have any emotional residual of what was going on between me and his dad relationship. When I divorced his dad, I was not working, and therefore I had to enter the workforce in a way with a little toe, which was a child. So a lot of decisions I made and a lot of jobs I took on was centered to ensuring that I did not miss out on things for my son. I had a village. My family was awesome in the upbringing, in the filling in the gaps when I couldn't be there. I had a couple of friends do the same. So that allowed for me to feel like if I had to work, that my son didn't lose out on support or lose out on doing things in his childhood. Also, I had to realize that he was more important than anything else in the world. Therefore, at the drop of a dime, I was running to his rescue. That, in essence, sometimes means that I had to put aside my duties as an employee to be a mother. Luckily for me, I had managers or management that understood that, and I didn't run into a lot of issues or walls ensuring that I was always there for my child. So now here's the fourth strike, this bankruptcy. It is a stain on my credit report. I am now, and not just credit report, it's my credibility as a person. I now have to prove to all these people, these strangers, that I am capable of managing money, because I clearly didn't do it before, and that's why I filed bankruptcy, you know? So I now am in the rebuilding stage. In the beginning of the bankruptcy, I still had those lingering bad habits and those emotions that was causing me to make those bad decisions centered around money. Last year in 2019, I said enough is enough. My son will not grow up with a horrible or bad habits and centered around money. I will build him a great financial foundation that he can carry into adulthood, and he can carry into relationships, and he can teach his own children. So I had to really hunker down and first determine what was my hindrance, and emotions were my hindrance. So I had to address the emotions centered around money in order to get over that hump. And then in essence, I scoured the internet and start implementing different plans in order to create a budget system. I'm not a financial expert or professional. I'm just someone who wants to manage the money that the Lord has blessed me with, and in turn teach my son how to do the same. He is my why. So I've been doing that consistently since October of 2019, and I have found a sense of relief, and it budgeting has started to be a plus for me, not a oh it's me situation. Oh my goodness, money. So I become excited when it's time to figure out where to put money and how to spend it, and I become intentional behind a lot of things, especially now with buying things. It's to buy things, use it once, and never see the end until it's collecting dust. I'm not a minimalist, but I have now become very conscious, and when I notice that I'm not wearing something or using something within the next 2 or 3 months of me purchasing, that I will need to part ways with it, and I'm okay with that. That in turn helps me when I actually go to purchase something. If you're gonna use it, girl, or not. And so that's like really where the bankruptcy kind of, I would start to conquer me, the thought behind bankruptcy, the thought behind budgeting, my thoughts behind money. That's where the birth of this channel came from. I need accountability. I've tried families, I've tried family and friends, but they wasn't consistent or their advice wasn't sound. No shade to them, but now I am coming out of my comfort zone. I'm introducing myself and opening my books to strangers, looking for a network as well as accountability to be able to conquer this financial journey. And at this time, my goal here is management and decreasing debt. As you will learn, that debt free for me looks a little bit different. As you learn, retiring early looks a little bit different for me. But I hope that you understand that this is my journey, and I am so grateful that if you want to join along, so definitely subscribe, like content, comment. I always accept feedback. I am in a place in my life where I can accept feedback for what it is and not and throw my emotions behind it, because sometimes people say things because they hurt and not necessarily because it's helpful. And that also is the way we receive things. We receive things sometimes, or hear when someone says something based on if we're hurt or not. So I definitely will be mindful with that, and I always would blow or place my guard up to ensure that what I'm receiving into my heart, my heart, is not something that will be placed into my head and into fruition. So I definitely will enjoy this, and again, thank you. Additionally, if I am a wine enthusiast, I don't know why I couldn't get that out either. And as you will learn, living into two different areas, it's kind of like they're battling each other of the accent and the dictation and the it's just like a whole bunch of pronunciation situation. My mind's constantly battling, like, girl, do you want to sound like you from the country or do you want to sound like you from the city? So it's the struggle. I don't know, but I'm a wine enthusiast. I like to indulge in wine. I have favorites. Where I live is a plethora of vineyards that I haven't put my hands on, and that was actually my kind of thing of 2020, of finding different wineries and going to it. But of course, you know, got a little knock on the door situation, so it's like kind of derailed. I prefer local wines, tasting them at the winery first and then purchasing them like at the store. I like the experience, but when I can't get to these places, I often just talk to people that's within the store and try to get their feel on everything. So yes, I prefer red wines. I primarily drink them in the fall and winter. I do keep them on deck the other seasons, but I do primarily start transitioning to lighter wines and white wines in the spring and then sparkling wines in the summer. So I will also always feature a wine when I'm actually budgeting, because that is my me time and that is my relaxing time. So I hope that you will enjoy that part of the content that I'm bringing to you. As always, suggest a wine from your area. Where I live, we cannot have wine shipped out of state to us. So if it's like I can drive to it, like I'm surrounded by some awesome states, so if I can drive with them, well, surrounded by a good amount of states. So if I can drive to it, a day trip, a weekend is awesome. But I will always, you know, talk about the wine that I'm drinking at the time when I'm budgeting, as well as I'll go into some facts about it. I don't just buy it just for looks and taste. I buy it simply for the history behind it. I am so, like, when I hear history, I just get all Google, guys. Like, tell me about it. Tell me about it. So, yes. So, again, I'm Dee with a Single Mom Unguided Life, and welcome to my channel.